to do an update on the Rohingya genocide in Myanmar. So there was a crackdown on the minority Rohingya Muslim community in August 2017 in Myanmar. You had nearly 1 million, 750,000 Rohingya refugees. Refugees who are mostly women and children who fled Myanmar. So there's a huge displacement of the Rohingya refugees. It started August 2017, so this has been going on for over 3 years. And since August 2017, there's been 24,000 Rohingya Muslims who have been killed by Myanmar state forces, according to a report by the Ontario International Development Agency. So Blicken had said something. Blicken was saying that he's going to review it. The incoming Biden administration will launch an interagency review to determine whether Myanmar's persecution of its Rohingya minority amounts to genocide. Antony Blicken, oh, good old Antony, the Secretary of State, he said during his confirmation process before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee that if he was confirmed, he would oversee the process, the probe, to see if the Rohingya genocide is actually a Rohingya genocide. It is. I'll go ahead and, Antony Blicken, it is. 24,000, that's a lot of people being killed. Here's an article, January 7th, 2021. Rohingya arrested in Myanmar just for traveling. 99 ethnic Rohingya in Yangon were traveling without documentation in the country where they were born and they lived all their lives, and they were rounded up, arrested. Now, according to the 1948 Genocide Convention, this is from the diplomat.com, the 1948 Genocide Convention defines genocide as an intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group. So if you try to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group, then you are committing genocide. So the Rohingya Muslims, the Uyghur Muslims, both of those are genocides. The one in China, the one in Myanmar. The Yemeni genocide is a genocide. 233,000 Yemenis have been killed. 233,000 of which America is responsible for. So the Yemeni genocide is worse than the Rohingya genocide in terms of body count. And there's also possibly another Armenian genocide going on in Azerbaijan. In Azerbaijan, the 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh, the Nagorno-Karabakh War. So the Biden administration, they seem to be, talking about all the right things. They're talking about pulling out of Yemen, the U.S. support for the Saudi-led invasion in Yemen. They're talking about probing the Rohingya Muslim genocide and the Uyghur genocide. The U.S. government, that was Pompeo who designated that, but that should be looked into too. I mean, what kind of empire doesn't stop genocide? What kind of empire doesn't... Hey, America, we're an empire. We have 900 military bases in 150 countries. We're engaged in 27 wars. We're the leading member of the United Nations. We house it in New York City. And we're America, so when we say, a thing is happening, the rest of the world kind of goes like that Juan Guaido bullshit. It's kind of a genocide too. The sanctions and the war games on Venezuela. The Yemeni civil war began in late 2014 when the Houthis took over the capital city of Sinai and drove out the government of President Abdrabbuh Mansur Hadi. Saudi Arabia launched a coalition intervention on behalf of the ousted government in March 2015, and the war quickly spiraled into an intractable proxy conflict between Saudi Arabia and Iran. This is all about Yemen. And Iran backs the Houthis. Joe Biden, as vice president, supported the Barack Obama administration's decision to back the Saudi intervention at the time with diplomatic support and weapons sales. We have given the Saudi Arabians billions of dollars. Abrams tanks, F-15s, cluster bombs. We're refueling those F-15s in midair while they're killing the Yemeni people. The Trump administration maintained and expanded that support, ignoring or overriding congressional objections after Saudi Arabia was accused of committing war crimes in Yemen. The House of Representatives, the U.S. House, called for an end to the Rohingya genocide and to end the Yemeni genocide, and Donald Trump vetoed it. He overrode that. So many things. Donald Trump wasn't a conservative or a liberal. He was just flat out wrong. Biden's challenge as president will be to extricate the U.S. from its current position of making this crisis worse and find a path towards mitigating or resolving it. Instead, this is not a matter of picking between good guys and bad guys, because there are no good guys to pick. The Houthis, too, have committed atrocities and violated human rights, and the Iranian patrons are no less brutal theocrats than these Saudis. However, in the complex calculus of the Middle East, the Houthis have been valuable allies against the international terrorist organizations like Al-Qaeda and ISIS. The Saudi-led coalition, by comparison, got caught paying off members of Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula to abandon their strongholds or to join up with coalition forces. So the United States is on the side of Al-Qaeda in the Yemeni genocide. That's what the United States government is. They're on the side of Al-Qaeda. The Houthis are the ones that are opposed to Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Trump administration had designated the Houthis as a terrorist organization, which is bullshit. So, plus there's also, Yemen's got its own problems. But an empire that doesn't stop genocides around, we're the policemen of the world, and we're just going to, stand by while Rwanda gets genocide. We're just going to stand by. Sudan gets genocide. We're just going to stand by as what? Hitler genocides the Jews and all the Eastern Europeans and socialists and labor unionists and whatnot. We're just going to stand by as genocide. Genocide is mass murder. If you're not opposed to genocide, you're probably not really opposed to much of anything at all. What kind of empire doesn't stop genocide? A Nazi empire. A Nazi empire is a kind of empire that doesn't stop genocide. So we need to end or push for an end of the Uyghur genocide in China. We need to end the Rohingya genocide in Myanmar. And we need to stop the Yemeni genocide. We need to stop our direct involvement, but we need to push for that war to end. And there's possibly an Armenian genocide going on in Azerbaijan. So, yeah, at the very least, since we are the empire, since we are the policemen of the world, I'm an isolationist, so I would rather bring the troops home. But since we're an empire, we need to be the good empire. We need to be the ones that are on the right side of history, who help the people. Not the ones who oppress and kill and maim and rob and destroy. So yeah, stop the Rohingya genocide, stop the Yemeni genocide, stop the Uyghur genocide, and stop that Armenian genocide. Peace.